Hello, students. Good afternoon to all of you. I hope you will be fine at home. And I welcome you all in this lecture of Power System Instrumentation. And the subject code is EE311 as per our university curriculum or course. So, Power System Instrumentation, and we are at the in the unit number 5. That is the Power System Instrumentation topic, second. And the subtopic and the content which we are going to cover in today's lecture, that is capacitive voltage transformers. So, my dear student, if I am talking about the power system instrumentation, though as I earlier told you, the power system instrumentation is a subject which always having the quantity which we have to measure in power system. So, the instrument which we require to measure that quantity of power system, that we cover in this power system instrumentation. So in power system, we having the, for example, I am talking about the power system. So obviously, it is a electrical power system. So electrical power system, if I am talking about, though in this we having impedances, voltage, current, energy, power. So all we have to basically measure all these things. We have to measure all these things. So we have to understand the basic of it. That is the power system instrumentation. So as per our curriculum or as per our syllabus, we can say, though in syllabus that is power system instrumentation, we having the 5 unit structure, the structure of 5 unit, in which the first unit is basically dealing with the errors. Is dealing with the errors. So if I am talking about the unit number one, the unit number one having the errors, the topic which are going to cover, that is error. So we talked a lot about errors. Errors basically blunder or mistake. Similar to us, if I am a human being and you are a human being, so you make a mistake while measuring something, while recording something, while communicating, while picking something from the market. Okay, so you make a mistake because you are a human being. I also a human being. So I have to do what? I have to basically make a more consider on the mistakes that if I will do, or I am in a habit of making errors, I am in a habit of making mistakes, blunders, or the adverse things. So I have to consider it that I will make a mistake. So I have to first know that which type of error we can make. So these are the errors or mistakes, errors having in instrument and having while we taking a measurement also. So we can categorize in the both the way. While I am measuring something, though I am having error, while instrument which I am using having error in inbuilt. And while in the system I am using where I am using, so there will be some adverse situation of environment. So the errors we can say the errors and the mistakes are there. So errors we have first gross error. Gross error is basically we can say the combinational error. It is due to the mistakes we made, and we can't able to rectify it because if I read the wrong reading in the while I'm using something and I record it, though always I'm getting the wrong result. So what I have to do? See, I have to make considerations. Now first if I took a read if I take I want to take a reading, and I took a reading before and I want to take a reading again. So take reading again and again when we are not getting the right reading, and see the reading very clearly. Vision should be clear. If vision is not correct, then the reading will not be right for you, because if you are not seeing in a right manner, you are not seeing with a we can say with full of vision, means full of vision, though your reading will always be wrong. So we can eliminate the gross error by measuring something. We can take repetitive repetitive measurement. We can do this. Then we having the systematical error. If I am talking about the systematical error, then systematical error we having the three categories: environmental error, observational error, and instrumental. Instrumental error, environmental error, and observational error. So taking one by one, the first is the instrumental error. So instrumental error due to the inherent shortcoming in the instrument. If I am using an instrument which having some inbuilt problems, for example, if I am talking about the PMMC, that is permanent magnet moving coil instrument, that is analog instrument, spring is used for the controlling power. The elasticities of spring will become adverse, will become less because the spring tension is become less. So what will happen? The elasticity will also become less. So if elasticity become less, so your pointer will not always rest on zero. It will give you always high reading. So that is the instrumental error. So what do I have to do? We have to do the calibration before I am using it. Next, we having the environmental error. Now, environmental error basically due to the environmental effects like temperature, pressure, humidity, okay, and we having some external stress. So we have to think for it. If I want to I want to do the measurement, and there we having the temperature difference due to the room temperature, we have to consider this. Otherwise, we having the stresses from the environment, we having the forces, or we can say pressure, and the we can say the stress we are getting. So we have to consider all this. That gives you the environmental. Then we having the observation. Now observation is basically due to our observation. Now I make a circuit and I want to get the reading of current, that through which the multimeter or a meter. Okay. So if I want to get the reading from a meter, so I have to see the reading in a right manner, no different manner like parallax error means vision error. So I have to take the reading in right manner. That will be the observe, means the observation is came the word from observe. So observe in the right manner, we can say. Then the last error we have, first error is cross error, then we having the, we can say, systematic error. In systematic we having three errors like instrumental, environmental, observation, and the last error is the observational error. Now observational error, last error is the random error, sorry. Random error means due to randomness, due to mishappening in the whole world, the happening, or we can say the mishappening we have, and we can't able to predict it, we can't able to analyze that one. So we can say we have to observe, we can take the reading by reading, that is the randomness, we can say. So these are the errors. So we can see how can we identify that it is an error. So we have in two things, one is the accuracy, another one is the precision. So accuracy is basically the accurate value, true value, and precision is the repeatness, or we can say repeatability of the readings. For example, the accuracy is, if I want 9 ampere in a ohm meter, in a ammeter, but I am getting not 9, but I am taking 8. In first time I am getting 8.7, it is near to 9. So I am taking reading by reading. When we getting the closeness to that, means in first reading I got the value 8.7, but in the last reading I am getting the 8.95. So that is very close to the accurate reading. So that is precision and accuracy. So I hope you understand. Now if I am having these so many readings, so what, through which manner I can predict that, I can, how can I calculate that one, the calculation of error. So if I am having these so many errors or so many measurements, so first take the mean of it, that is the center value, and through this value we can make a graph, we can make a curve, that is known as bell curve, or we can say the frequency distribution curve, the Gaussian curve, we can say the Gauss curve. Okay, through which we can identify the deviation, the graph which we can with the help of deviation. So in this we having two main things. One is the mean, that is average value, and how can we calculate the average value? If I am having the 9 readings, so add all the 9 readings, divide by the number of readings, that is 9. So I hope you understand about the readings. That's one. So that is the mean. Then we having the standard deviation. First take the deviation from the mean value of actual reading, then a square of it, then taking a square root of it. That is the standard deviation. So take standard deviation, then we having the mean. So we having the mean plus standard deviation, mean minus standard deviation. We make a graph. We make a graph curve, that is known as Bell curve or frequency distribution curve, or we can say the Gauss curve. That is the error we can identify. So how can we calculate the errors? With the help of the mathematical analysis, that is statistical analysis like mean, standard deviation, variance, and all this. I hope you understand. Now in unit number 2 is basically very good and important unit, because in that unit we are going to study about transducer. And transducer is basically a component, element, or we can say the intermediate state or a particle of a system, which basically convert one form of energy into the another. So if I'm talking about the transducer, so obviously we are studying this subject in an electrical engineering branch. So we are basically considered on the electrical engineering. So we use that transducer which convert another form into the electrical form. So another form may be the physical quantities. Maybe means it always be a physical quantity like acoustic, chemical, biological. We can say the pressure, temperature, displacement, mechanical. So we can convert into the electrical. So how can we convert? That is a transducer. So electrical transducer. But how it convert? First, it's having the sensing element. which senses. Another one is the transductive element, which transduct into the another form. So as per the transducer, we have different type of transducer types. If I'm talking about primary, secondary, active, passive, analog, digital. As per the transduction, we having capacitive, inductive, photoconductive, phototransductive, photovoltaic, piezoelectric crystal we have. Okay. So pertaining these all things, we have different transducers. For example, linear variable differential transformer transducer, that is LVDT. It is a very good transducer. Okay, we can use for the displacement measurement. Then we having the RVDT, rotatory. Then we having the strain gauge. Then we having the thermistor, that is known as thermal resistors. Then we having the resistance temperature detector, thermocouples, Seebeck effect, potentiometer, that is pot. Then we having the Hall effect for the magnetic measurement. So for all these measurement for voltage, current, power, displacement, pressure, mechanical, we having different types of transducer, which the name which I told you basically earlier. So these all things we have studied in the unit number. In unit number 3 is basically the signal conditioning. Now, my dear student, if I am talking about the signal conditioning, the signal conditioning is basically we want to condition the signal as per our desire, as per our requirement. So, if I want to condition the signal, so I need a instrument which convert into the another form, that is a transducer. So, sensor is there, then transducer we have. Then we having different amplifiers. The first amplifier which we are using is the op-amp, operational amplifier. So operational amplifier is basically why I am calling as operation and why you also called as operational, because it perform mathematical operations. It is amplifier because it's having the amplification quality in it. What are the qualities we have? Like gain, output gain is high, high rejection to CMMR, common mode rejection ratio, CMMR, and basically input resistance high, output is less. So all the amplification quality it possesses, it having, it has, it having the all quality which the amplifier should have in it, basically. So if I'm talking about this thing, so operational amplifier is basically a chip, that is integrated circuit, IC741, known as IC74. It is a 8-pin structure. In that 8-pin structure, we have 3 pins for no connections and offset, and 5 pins are for in the use. Two are for the inverting and non-inverting inputs. One is for the output, and two is for the positive and negative voltage supply. So 8-pin structure we have IC741, and it can perform so many operations. So many operations means it can perform mathematical operations like addition, subtraction means adder, subtractor, differentiator, integrator, logarithmic, anti-logarithmic, voltage follower, divider, multiply. All these things we can use. We can do with the help of this op-amp. So that is the basic part. Then we having the instrumentational amplifier. So instrumentation amplifier is for the basically instrument purpose, measuring purpose. So it consists of op-amp in it. We can say the integrator operational amplifier in it. This type of amplifier in it, that is the we can say the integrator. Op-amp having the integrator in it. So integrator op-amp having 3 op-amps we have. 2 op-amps will giving the output, and third one is the differential which takes the differential. Then we having the isolating amplifier. Isolating amplifier, the word comes from isolation. So why we are doing this isolation? Because nowadays the technology advances. So many advances we having in the technology, in the modern technology area, we having so many advances. So in the advances, we can easily measure the voltage, the blood pressure, sugar ratio. We can say the sugar ratio in the blood, heartbeat, pulse rate, with the help of all electronic measuring instruments. So if I am using an electronic measuring instrument, though it basically operate with the help of electrical input. So if electrical input means electrical energy I am giving, so there will be some leakage output. If leakage will go through the human body, so it will give you the it will give that will give the shock to the human body, and that will not be possible because we have to protect them. So for that we using isolation amplifier. Then we will be having the analog multiplier and divider, using the Gilbert's mixture in it, and the mathematics and local oscillator. Then we are having the optocoupler. Okay. Then we are having the optical isolation and magnetic isolation both. Adder and subtractor we have. Then we have understood about the function generator. Function generator is basically a main component which basically create and generate. The name suggested function generator means the function generator is an instrument which giving the functions in the form of waveforms. So waveforms which useful so as maybe triangular, maybe rectangular, maybe sawtooth, maybe sinusoidal. So it gives you. But all of these which I am talking about having the op-amp, that is integrator as an integrator. Okay. Then we having the frequency to voltage converter FVC. So input is frequency of a wave, and that we can directly convert into the voltage with the help of integrators and op-amps, we can say. In this we having two stages, the frequency stage, another one is the power stage, power calibration, or the power stage we have. I hope you understand. Okay, so two stages we have. Then proposed FVC we can make with the help of these all. Then we having the current temperature to current converter, temperature to current converter, in which we can convert the temperature into the current. Means input I am getting in the temperature form, but the output I am giving in the form of what? In the form of current. So again we are using op-amp operational. Then we having the grounding and shielding. The grounding and shielding is a very important for instrumental for measurement purpose, that is instrumentation purpose. Why it is very necessary? Because if proper grounding is not there with the instrument, the leakage current at the time of fault will flow in the instrument, and it will, due to this will get the adverse effect on the instrument and in the reading. So what we can do and what we are doing, basically we are making two things. One is the grounding, another one is the shielding. So grounding we can make a ground word is basically a ground. So grounding we can do in the three-phase transformer also. For example, we are having star star transformer, star delta. So if I am having the star, though star means three phase four wire system. So three wire for the three phases, one wire is for the neutral. So that neutral we can ground it. Through this, what will happen? Then the leakage current will go to the ground. And what we have to make? We have to make the low impedance of that ground path, because if high impedance of that ground path means low current will flow. If low impedance means high current will flow. So we have to make the low impedance, and we can do the grounding by two ways: multiple grounding and single point grounding. If I'm talking about the multiple grounding, so in multiple grounding, basically I'm talking about the instrument. For example, nine instrument having the grounding point. So the nine instrument having individual grounding. So nine groundings we have. It comes in the category of multiple point. So 9 point we have. If I am talking about the single point grounding, so in single point grounding we having all the nine components having grounding wires connected with a single point, known as single point grounding. Then we having the shielding. Shielding is basically to shield the instrument from the external fault, external shock, or whatever it is. So we having the cables, power cables and the electric cables. In that cables we having always having the shielding. So copper grade shield is very important, we are using. So all metals we can use with their effects, with their use. Okay. So next in the fourth unit, it is basically power system instrumentation number part one, the main part. So in this we want to measure the voltage, we want to measure the current. So if I want to measure the voltage, so I having a voltmeter, and voltmeter are of two types, digital or analog. And if I'm talking about the AC/DC, then PMMC and MI, permanent moving magnet moving coil and moving iron. So if I'm talking about the voltmeter, so voltmeter always connect in the parallel across to that circuit, across the connection, and ammeter always connect in a series. Okay, so voltmeter always having the internal resistance, and ammeter always having their internal resistance. So their internal resistance will give the loading effect while we measure something. How it takes the loading effect? Because the resistance having own resistance, and that resistance will affect the reading of the voltmeter or ammeter. So that is known as loading effect. I hope you get it about this thing. So we having the voltmeter ammeter. If I'm talking about the analog, so analog having the full scale reflection. And if I'm talking about the digital, so it gives you the output in the form of digit, and input will be the binary form 0 and 1. I hope you got it about this thing. Now next, about the measurement of frequency, phase angle, voltage, and time delay. So CRO is the best option for it. That is cathode ray oscilloscope. Cathode ray oscilloscope is basically uh, gives you the oscillation means output. But in this, the main part is the CRT. The hertz is CRT. cathode ray tube, which having the heater, through which we can having the electron gun. That electron gun moves, and we having the two anodes, focusing and basically the anode, which anodes focus on the two deflecting plates. One is the horizontal and another is vertical. Through horizontally and vertically, we get a electron beam on the scope, and it gives you the output waveform. Okay, through Lissajous filter. So we can easily calculate the voltage also by horizontal vertical axis. We also calculate the time. If I am calculating the time, we can calculate the frequency, because frequency is inversely proportional to the time. And phase difference, because we are having the two waves. So if two waves are different, so we can also calculate the phase difference. Okay, so we can calculate measure. We can also measure voltage, time. With respect to time, we can also calculate frequency. Frequency is there. Then we having the phase difference. By the help of Lissajous figure, we can make. Okay. Then we having the basically the measurement of active and reactive power. Active and reactive we can measure with the help of energy meter, because in energy meter we can calculate the active and reactive power. But active and reactive power we get from the AC. AC, in AC we having the two types of power, that is active and reactive, and the combination of these two in a phasor sum, in a phasor way, that is the apparent. So apparent is the VA, we can say VA, and we having the basically what, then we having the VAR, active and reactive. So active power is the power which is dissipate in the form of heat in the resistor, and the power which is consumed in the form of electrostatic or magnostatic, or we can say the average consumed power, that is in the reactor or capacitor, known as reactive power. Okay, so that we can measure. Then we having the electrical meters known as watt hour meter, energy meters. So energy meters are of two types, analog and digital. Analog, we having a disk type system, we having 7 components in it. And if I'm talking about the electronic components, then we having the data storage facility we can having, and we having so many electronic components. Electronic means solid state components. Yeah. Then we having the part tariff meters, through which we can also calculate the tariff in the form of A plus B plus C. This is the form. And spatial energy meter we have, which we having the data storage device also, we can calculate the data storage, and RS485 we having. So these all are we have understood about in the unit number 4. Then in unit number 5, which we are going through basically right now, we are in it basically. So that is power system instrumentation number 2nd. So in this first 2 lectures I told you about of this unit, instrument transformers. So instrument transformers are the transformer which we using for the measuring purpose. For current, we use current transformer. For voltage, we use voltage transformer. So these all are the current transformer and voltage transformer. But now in this lecture, what I want to tell you, my dear student. So my objective is help the learner, means you student, to understand the basics of instrument transfer. First, the basics. What are the instrument transfer? Then third is the understand the detailed theory of capacitive voltage transformers. That is CVT, different from PT and VT, some different from PT and VT, PT and CT. It is also called as CVT in a short form. So we are going to study about the instrument transformer as a basics, and in a detailed theory, we are going to understand about the capacitive voltage transformer. Now moving forward, instrument transformers. Now what is instrument transformer? What is an instrument transformer? So it is a transformer that is used in co-junction with any measuring instrument, ammeter and voltmeter. Wattmeter we have for power, and watt hour meter for energy, etc., or protective equipment like relays. So it basically protect. It is why we are using this instrument transformer for protection purpose, for controlling of power system also. We have it utilize the current transformation and voltage transformation. K is equals to V2 by V1 of transformer, I1 by I2, and N2 by N1. Properties to measure high AC current and voltage. For measurement of high AC current and voltage, basically in AC, not in DC, alternating current and alternating current voltages. But they use what? They having the basically the transformation ratio that gives you the secondary voltage to the primary voltage, secondary turn to the primary turn, but primary current to the secondary current. Okay, that is it. Now, instrument transfer applications of instrument transfer, where we are using, where we can use it. So for measurement of high AC current, it is usual to use low range AC ammeter with suitable shunt. So we having the transformer, but we use what? Low range AC ammeter with suitable shunt, because we have to connect parallel. So suitable shunt we having, and we can connect low range ammeter with this instrument transformer. For measurement of high AC voltage, low range AC voltmeter are used with high resistance connected in series. high resistance connected in series. And ammeter, we having the shunt resistance with low range of ammeter we have. Now for measurement of very high AC current and voltage, we cannot use these method. Instead, we use specially constructed HV instrument transformer to insulate the high voltage circuit from the measuring circuit in order to protect the measuring instrument for or from burning. We can use it from burning. We have make a separate connection. We have using a specially constructed HV instrument, high voltage instrument. I hope you understand. Now, application of instrument transformer in DC circuit for current and voltage measurement. We can use low range DC meters, ammeters or voltmeters with rectifier current in their secondary circuit. Why? Because if I'm talking about the transformer, so transformer always works on AC. We can't give DC to it. If we give DC to it, though, it will not work because as per the Faraday law of electromagnetic induction, the Fick's linkage will be vary, but the ways to the methods through which we can vary the flux are basically two, static and dynamic. So in transformer, we having the static, means no rotating part. But if I'm talking about the motor or rotating machines, motor and generator, we having the rotating coil. So the vast primary application we have basically of instrument transformer is for the protection and control of power system and power equipment of high and very high ratings. So rectifier we are using in the first case for DC, and second case we are basically primary application we have. The working of these instrument transformers is similar to those of the ordinary transformer. The working of these are similar to those of ordinary transformer we have like this. It is like this, but in this the different thing from the transformer is that in this we having H1 and H2 are the primary windings, and X1 and S2 are the secondary winding. But actually, main transformer, if I am talking about the main transformer, so in main transformer we having the primary winding represented by P1 and P2, secondary winding represented by S1 and S2. But in this, we can say the magnetic circuit of instrument transformer, as per IEEE or IEC, the specification is given like this: for primary winding, the terminals we have to represent in H1 and H2, and if I'm talking about the secondary winding, always represent as a X1 and X2, X1 and X2. So I hope you understand. Now, if I'm talking about the instrument transformer types, so there are two types. For current measurement, we having current transformer. For voltage measurement, we having voltage transformer or potential transformer. So CT and PT are the basically two types of transformers we have, known as instrument transformers, current transformer, and potential transformers we have. So current measurement we having current transformer, and voltage and potential measurement we having the potential transformers. Now CVT. So we talked a lot about in my previous series of lecture about the potential transformer and current transformer. Now in this, what I am going to tell you is capacitive voltage transformer. A capacitive voltage transformer known as CVT or CCVT is a transformer used in power system to step down extra high voltage signals and provide a low voltage signal for metering or operating a protective relay. It is just similar to your potential transformer, because in potential, if I am talking about the potential transformer, my dear student, so potential transformer is a step down transformer and current transformer is a step up transformer. Because if I am talking about the step up transformer, those step up transformer voltage is increasing of secondary but current is decreasing. So I have to decrease the current level as per the ammeter reading for measurement purpose. That is the working of CT, current transformer. But if I am talking about the potential transformer, so potential transformer, it is a step down transformer, primary winding having more turns but secondary winding having less turns and few turns, and we having basically step down structure. So it is similar to that. A capacitive voltage transformer, CVT or CCVT, is a transformer used in power system to step down extra high voltage signals and provide a low voltage signal for metering or operating a protective relay for measurement and for the protection. Okay. Now it is a simple circuit diagram what we can make here. Now see, high terminal voltage, ground terminal, and we place two capacitors C1 and C2 with the L1, that is the primary transformer, and the transformer. So it is similar to PT, but we are indulging or including two capacitors in it, like C1 and C2. So we are basically making a connection of two C1 and C2 with the primary, not in the secondary. Similar to that, the potential transformer. In potential transformer, we having the primary turns are more compared to the secondary turns. Why is it so? because if I am talking about the primary winding, so primary winding is basically having more turns and secondary winding having the less turns. It is basically the requirement for step down transformer. So we having this requirement, but we are connecting two capacitors. See here, C1 and C2. That is why it is named as capacitive voltage transformer. I hope it does. Now this is a basic layout, or we can say the identification here. Now 1 2 3, we can say 1 here, 2 is there, 3 is showing you here, 4 is showing you here, 5 is this one, 6 is this one, 7 is this one, 8 we having this one, 9 we having this one, 10 we having this one, 11 we having this one, 12 is this one, 13 we have here, then we having the 14 this one, 15 is this one, 16 can see here, 17 we can find here, 18 we can have here, and 19 it is look here. Okay, so we can identify the points, all points. So this is a constructional diagram, we can say it is a circuit diagram, it is the view. How can we identify that is it is a CVT? How can we identify? So what are they? Now see here. First is basically your primary terminal. First is your what? Primary terminals we have. Second is the cast aluminum bellow housing. Third is the stainless steel expansion bellow. Fourth is the compression spring, we can say. Fifth is the insulated voltage connection. Six is the capacitor element. Now six is the capacitor elements. These are the capacitor elements here. Okay. Now we can say the seven is the insulator porcelain or composite we are having. Eight is the voltage divider tap connection. Ninth is the cast epoxy bushing we have. 10th is the high frequency terminal connection. 11 is the ferro resonance suppression device we have. 12th is the secondary terminals for it. 13 is the oil level side glass, because we have in different types of CVT like to PT oil. You can say ring type we having, no oil we having. Okay, so this is about the oil, high voltage, for high voltage. Now 30 we can say 12 is the secondary terminals. 13 is the oil level side glass. Oil level side glass we can find one from here. 14th is the aluminum terminal box. 15 is the intermediate transformer. 16 is the oil oblique air block. 17 is the oil sampling device. 18 is the compensating reactor we have for the compensation purpose, and 19 is the aluminum cover plate. So these all are basically we can find in it. 19 parts of it. That is of capacitive voltage transformer. I hope you understand. Now moving forward. Introduction. What is it? Capacitor voltage transformer CVT are used for voltage metering and the production in high voltage network system. They transform the high voltage into low voltage, adequate to be processed in measuring and protection instrument, secondary equipment, such as relay and recorders we have, such as relay and recorders. As voltage transformer VT isolates the measuring instrument from the high voltage of the monitor circuit. VTs are commonly used for metering and protection in the electrical power industry. So a voltage transformer comprising a capacitor divider unit, two capacitors we have, and an electromagnetic unit so designed and interconnected that the secondary voltage of the electromagnetic unit is substantially proportional to and in the phase with the primary voltage applied to the capacitor divider unit. So we having the capacitor divider unit in a VT, we can say, that convert to CVT or PT. Okay, I hope you understand. Now working. In its most basic form, the device consists of three parts: two capacitors across which the transmission line signal is split, an inductive element to tune the device to the line frequency, and a voltage transformer to isolate and further step down the voltage for metering devices or protective range. So three things are there. First, the two capacitors unit in a unit. One is the inductor, and third is the voltage transformer or potential transformer. Okay, so potential transformer is basically for the protecting or metering, and capacitor and inductor is for the line frequency. We are using for the line, we can say tuned circuit we having for the line frequency. The tuning of the divider to the line frequency makes the overall division ratio less sensitive to change in the burden of the connected metering or protection. So it produce the less changes or sensitive to the change in burden. Okay, so no changes when burden is different, means load is different in metering. The device that has at least four terminals: a terminal for connection to the high voltage signal, a ground terminal and a two secondary terminals, which connected to the instrument or protective relay. So four terminals we have. In practice, capacitor C1 is often considered as a stack of smaller capacitor connected in series. This provides a large voltage drop across C1 and relatively small voltage drop across C2. As the majority of the voltage drop is on C1, this reduces the required insulation level of voltage transfer. Okay. Now the voltage across the large capacitance C2 or capacitor C2 will be V2 is equals to V into C1 upon C1 plus C2. This makes CVTs are more economical than the wound voltage transformer under high voltage over 600 over 100 kilovolt, means 100 into 10 raised to the power 3, that is 1 lakh volt we can say. As a later one device later one requires more winding and materials, so it is more economical if I am using for 100 kilovolt. If I am using for 100 kilovolt, so the wound voltage transformer, it is more economical than wound voltage transformer. Now application. A CVT is also useful in communication system. CVT is in a combination with wave traps, we can say for power line carrier communications, are used for filtering high frequency communication signals from power frequency. This forms a carrier communication network throughout the transmission network we have. Voltage measuring we can do. They accurately transform transmission voltage down to the usable levels for revenue metering, protection and control purposes. Insulation, they guarantee the insulation between high voltage network and low voltage circuit, ensures safety condition to control room operators. High frequency transmission, they can be used for power line carrier, you can say PLC, or power line carrier communication, that is PLCC, coupling, we can say. Transient recovery voltage, when installed in close proximity to HV and EHV circuit, high voltage and extra high voltage circuit breakers, CVT on high capacitance enhanced circuit breaker short line fault, or we can say TRV performance. So these are the applications. Now, difference between CT, CVT and PT. What are the difference we have? So where CVT is the capacitive voltage transformer consisting a stack of series connected capacitor, the voltage across the capacitor is used to measure the voltage. It also serves the purpose of power line carrier communication. Now, potential transformer. So potential transformer is an inductive step down transformer used for measurement of voltage and protection. But this CVT is measuring the voltage is used for the voltage measurement and for power line carrier communication. Okay, a CVT is rated for extremely high voltage above level above 230 kilovolt. So we can use this for 400 kilovolt, 765 kilovolt. But while PT are not designed for such large voltage up to 12 kilovolt. So for 11 kilovolt we can use this PT, but for more than it we can use CVT. Okay, for high voltage. CVT offer the advantage that the voltage divider capacitor being itself relatively smaller and lighter configuration makes the transformer iron core much smaller in size and hence more economical versus what if we be a pure magnetic transformer we use. If I am talking about the magnetic thing, so in this, if I am using a stack of capacitor, so it's basically give you what the core size is very small. But if I am talking about the PT, the core loss is too much high, so it is less economical, similar to our ordinary transformer we have, to winding transformer we have. Also, the CVTs can be tuned to a fundamental frequency of the line, and the capacitance prevent the inductive fireback of the coils in transformer when a breaker tips. PTs can't provide such advantage. So CVT having more advantage over the potential transformer. Now, what is the saturation in current transformer? The term saturation of CT can be defined as a condition in which CT is no longer able to reproduce the secondary current in proportion to its primary current. That is the saturation. The basic principle on which the CT reproduces the secondary current is based on the well-known transformer principle, Faraday law of an electromagnetic induction, where current flowing through the primary voltage produces a flux in the core of transformer, which is normally proportional to the current in the primary. Phi is proportional to the I. This flux is the basic reason for the current in secondary winding. Now, if the core is not able to reproduce a flux in proportion to the primary current, then the secondary current will not be in proportion to the primary current, and hence the measurement of current becoming wrong. If it is not proportional as per the requirement, so the secondary is not proportional to primary, so the reading will having be wrong. Now the phenomena of CT core unable to produce the flux in proportion to the primary current is called saturation of CT or CT's core or CT core we have. The reasons of saturation in CT, we can say the saturation, the causes we have in CT are with constant VA applied in the CT secondary circuit, the CT goes to the saturation if primary current is increased beyond the desired value. We have this thing. With constant current in the primary and if the burden is increased beyond the desired value, still we will find the same phenomenon of CT saturation. We have the amount of DC component available in the primary fault current, etc. So these are the reasons why we having the saturation in CT. Effect of saturation on metering and protective current transformer. You can see because we are using CVT also with this. So once the CT is saturated, that it will not be able to reproduce the secondary current in proportion to its primary current. Means if it is in saturation, they will not get the secondary current in the proportion to the primary. Okay, and hence the relays connected to the CT circuit may malfunction, give you the uh, undesired value, undesired output we are having. So they malfunction, the circuit may malfunction indiscriminately and trips the circuit without continuation. So it gives the input to the circuit breaker and circuit breaker will trip the circuit breaker will break the circuit. So not per as the desire, and whenever the fault is not occurring, then circuit breaker is operating. That is the wrong or adverse thing for us, because circuit breaker have to isolate the circuit or open the circuit when the fault occurs, when CT trips the coil. And circuit is not, the circuit, we can say the current transfer not working properly, so malfunction will be there. Okay, so indiscriminately and trips the circuit without coordination with other relay in the network, or it may completely fail to operate. For a fault, both the condition is to be avoided. So both conditions we have to avoid it. So this will give wrong readings due to the high, or we can say huge loss to cost will take place. Huge loss to cost we having and will give you the wrong readings. I hope you understand. Now the remedies. What are the remedies we have? How can we do it? So the remedies are: it is the duty of the protection design engineer. If you and I will become a protection design engineer, to do a CT sizing. So what I have to do? We have to do a CT or current transformer sizing calculation, so that the CT will not saturate for the worst case. We can make a CT design or we can make a CT sizing like in this manner. The CT will not saturate for the worst case through fault. If we are having the fault, the CT will not, the CT or current transformer will not saturate. There are a number of factors to be considered before a CT is designed for protection purpose, which included the maximum symmetrical and unsymmetrical short circuit current, and the system, that is reactance to resistance ratio, that is X by R ratio. So there are number of factors to be considered before a CT is designed for protection purpose, which includes the maximum symmetrical and unsymmetrical short circuit current and the system X by R ratio. We have to be taken into consideration. These all are things when we are sizing the CT, when we are designing a CT, when we are manufacturing a CT, when we are producing a current transformer. So we have to take all these things in the consideration. Secondly, the symmetrical and asymmetrical short circuit current can be calculated by doing a short circuit study. Now, if we having the short circuit study, so symmetrical and asymmetrical short circuit current can be calculated by doing what? By doing a short circuit study on the system under the consideration. Under what? Under the consideration. For small systems, manual calculation of short circuit study is possible. If I am making a very small system for small calculation, so we can say what? We having a short circuit study is possible. However, for large system, the application of software are generally required. So for large system, we nowadays we are having the software system, the online system, or we can say the software system we can make for the this purpose. So otherwise, the calculation become more tedious for us. So we can make a short circuit study in manual. We can say manual collection if is possible. However, for the large system, we can do with the help of a software or a programming methods. We can do. Okay. So CVT is basically a capacitive voltage transformer, similar to voltage transformer, but in voltage transformer we having some disadvantages which can be overcome by using this CVT with the two capacitor in the stack and one inductor. So I hope you understand about CVT. Now some related MCQ with this. What is current transformer? A transformer used with a AC emitter, with a DC emitter, with a ACM voltmeter, with a DC voltmeter. So AC emitter, option A. What is a potential transformer? So a transformer used with an DC emitter, with an AC emitter, with an AC voltmeter, DC emitter, and AC voltmeter. So my dear student, if I am talking about the potential transformer, so I have to measure the what? I have to measure the voltage. So voltmeter will be there, but I am working for AC, not for DC. So AC voltmeter. Option is B. CT and PT are used for measuring low current and voltages, measuring very low current and voltages, measuring high currents and voltages, and measuring intermediate currents and voltages. So option is C, measuring high currents and voltages. Now, the secondary winding of which of the following transformer is always kept close? Current transformer, voltage transformer, power transformer, step down transformer. So option is A, current transformer. If the supply frequency of a transformer increases, the secondary output voltage of the transformer remain same. C. Capacitive voltage transformer can be connected to a high impedance device, low impedance device, relay coil, only B and C. So low impedance device and relay coil we can do. The primary winding of a CT has large number of turns or few number of turns. So few number of turns. Secondary winding of CT has large number of turns or few number of turns. It is a step up, so large number of turns. Turn ratio for a CT is P, NS by NP, secondary by primary. The primary winding of a PT has large number of turns because it is step down construction. So option is C. Now, these are the references through which I took some material to basically deliver this lecture to you, my dear students. So I hope you understand about the CVT, and you can also read it from these books. The contents are available in this book, that is Electron Electrons Measurement, E.K. Sani. Another one is from the Rajesh Prasad Khanna, and another one is from the international author A.S. Morris. So these are the very good books having the good content in it related to your topic, so you can refer it. So thank you from my side, student, for understanding, for listening this lecture. I hope you understand about the capacitive voltage transformer in a deep manner, in an elaborate manner. I hope you understand. So thank you from my side. Thank you for listening, my dear students.